Today I'm going to share with you a couple ideas that are going to help you work out the imbalances that you might have from left to right in your glutes. What's going on, everybody? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to bring balance to your glutes. Okay, so to begin, it's not entirely uncommon for people to have a unilateral glute imbalance, and what that means is unilateral means on one side basically, and what this looks like is one butt cheek will be stronger than another butt cheek, right? You'll get more activation and muscular contraction in one butt cheek than you do in another butt cheek, the other one. And you know, a lot of people notice this when they are you know, maybe like the day after they've done a bunch of like glute training or legs and only one butt cheek is sore. Or you might notice it while you're actually training. You might feel one butt cheek contracting and you know, it feels like the other one is not doing anything. Now this is actually pretty serious aside from aesthetics, just you know, having it look weird. It's actually a problem because the glutes actually play a critical role in stabilizing the lower trunk and the knees. And you know, if one glute is dysfunctional, it can create a lot of different problems and set you up for a lot of different injuries, okay? In my opinion, it'd be better to have two weak glutes than it would be to have, you know, one strong glute and one weak glute because of those asymmetrical forces acting on your pelvis and your lumbar spine. You're really just asking for injury. So what I want to show you today is a technique and kind of a way you can screen yourself and fix, you know, this issue, okay? And typically what causes the weak glute to be weak, and there are exceptions to this, but this is a very common cause, is the side in which you have the weak glute, that hip will be missing extension range of motion. So, you know, this is hip extension when your leg goes back like that, okay? And that's actually the primary function of the glutes, okay? The glutes, they're prime movers taking your leg into hip extension, okay? And if your hips are stiff because you've been sitting all day, you have a lot of hip flexor tightness or other dysfunction in the joint itself that's limiting your extension, then that can actually shut down and inhibit the glute. Now, I'm not really going to show you how to test your hip extension, but what I will do is show you a technique, a stretching technique that you can use prior to training your glutes or prior to training your legs, that if you are missing hip extension range of motion and that is affecting your glute, this should help to reverse that and help turn that glute back on. Here's how you do it. So the first thing I would actually recommend you do is roll out the front of the hip with a softball. This is a supernova ball, or you could also use a foam roller for this, but you basically want to hit the anterior frontal tissues of the hip, and you kind of just put your hip straight down on this thing and kind of roll back and forth. Another thing you could do here is work the glutes into like extension by lifting up your leg like this, okay? This will help, but kind of look for tight spots in there and do that for about 30 seconds before doing this stretch that I'm about to show you now. So this is called a Pmf stretch. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be activating the glutes while we're doing this, and you're going to find that this really helps to turn on the glutes while mobilizing the hip, okay? So, you know, after we have done this, your glutes are going to be primed because we will have gotten some activation in there. Your hip will have more range of motion, and if you're going to go into an exercise like hip thrusters or even something like stiff leg deadlifts, you're going to get a lot more glute activation than you otherwise would if it is this hip issue that I've been talking about that was inhibiting your glutes, okay? So, you know, this is a classic stretch right here. You're going to put one foot down. Keep that foot dorsiflexed. It means toes up. Don't plantar flex it like this. Keep it dorsiflexed, okay? Stand up nice and tall. Posteriorly tilt your pelvis. That means don't let your back arch like this. No arching. Tuck it underneath you like that. Keep it like that. Squeeze your abs. Squeeze your butt really hard as you kind of shift forward. Engage the glute. Relax the glute. Engage the glute. Relax the glute. Engage the glute. Relax the glute. I like to palpate my glute when I do this, actually poke it. It helps form a greater neuromuscular connection with that muscle, okay? Kind of like poke it, turn it on, keeping that pelvis posteriorly tilted the whole time. As you're doing that, you're trying to go a little bit deeper each time. Just a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. And that's really it. You do this only on the side that is not getting good glute activation. And another thing you could do to kind of confirm as to whether or not you have this is just test this kind of stretch on both sides, you know? Like get into this position right here. See how that feels on this hip relative to the other hip. I think you'll likely find that whatever side you're not getting good glute activation on, you'll find that when you stretch that hip, you feel a greater stretch in there. And that's kind of a positive indication of what we've been talking about. That's a positive indicator that you do have some restriction in there, and that is likely what's contributing to the inhibition of the glute. I would suggest doing that for about 2 to 3 sets of anywhere between 10 and 15 contractions. In conjunction with doing this, make sure you're also doing other glute exercises. I've made a lot of videos about glute exercises in the past. If you haven't seen them, check out the description or comment area down below because I'll post them up there. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then go ahead and do so right over here. Also, if you haven't downloaded my ebook, Posture, the Ultimate Life Hack, then pick that up for yourself. You can get a copy of that right over here. Other than that, make sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time.